Hello, welcome to Yoga for Boomers and Beyond. I'm your host and instructor, Nancy Boyle. Today we'll be moving through a practice designed to bring fluidity and stability into our bodies by lubricating joints for more freedom of movement and stretching and strengthening muscles that help us stand up, sit down, climb stairs, walk, and move more confidently throughout the day. I'll be teaching a breathing technique called deep belly breathing. This breathing technique brings more oxygen into the body, feeding cells and boosting energy. I'll be leading you through a series of seated movements designed to lubricate joints and bring mobility to the joints and suppleness into those areas of the body. And next, we'll do a series of standing postures and movements to lubricate the hips while stretching and strengthening the muscles around the hips, muscles key to balance and stability. The movements will be basic, seated and standing, but powerful. If done on a regular basis, this sequence can have a dramatic effect on how you feel and move during the day, and it can bring a sense of spaciousness and freedom of movement into the body. So let's get started. So we're going to move into some deep belly breathing. It's a wonderful way to center yourself and allow yourself to really settle into the practice. So take your hand, right or left, and rest it on your belly, and take your other hand and rest it over your heart. And as you breathe in through the nose, just see if you can notice how the belly moves out in towards the hands. And as you exhale, notice how the belly contracts, moves back towards the spine. Inhaling into that nice deep belly. And exhaling a softening, a relaxing of the belly as the breath moves out. So with your eyes open or your eyes closed, just begin to breathe this nice deep belly breath. Inhaling into expansion. And exhaling into a softening and a retraction of the navel back to the spine. So when we bring the breath deep into the belly, we help to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. It's that part of the nervous system that allows a little bit of rest and relaxation to kind of come over us. It brings the tension to melt away. And then you can just bring your hands down onto your lap and just allow the breath to be natural without any particular effort. And notice how the belly expands and contracts. And then we'll move into a little bit of movement with the breath. It's the beginning of that little dance where the breath is the music and the body moves to that music. So bring your hands down by your sides. And on the inhale, as the belly expands, bring the arms up overhead. And then on the exhale, the arms turn out, the palms turn out, the arms float down. And the breath leaves. We'll do 3 more rounds, inhaling. And exhaling. And inhaling. And exhale. And 2 more, inhale. And exhale. And one last one. Inhale, reach the arms overhead. And exhale. Great. And just pause for a moment and notice the effects of that beautiful deep belly breathing. So we'll begin some movement to open up parts of the body, really bring some flexibility and mobility into the body. And we'll begin with a posture called crescent moon. So bring your arms down by your side. And on your inhale, turn your palms away, float the arms up overhead. Take a nice stretch up towards the ceiling. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. And then take your right hand down to the seat of the chair. Holding on to the seat of the chair for support, reach the left arm up to the sky. And on an exhale, take a lean over to your right. And breathe. So as we come into this crescent moon shape, we're opening up the ribs. The intercostal muscles between the ribs are getting a nice stretch and an opening. And that brings a more expandability into the lungs, more space available for the lungs to expand, if you will. So take several nice full breaths into this lean. And on your next inhale, bring yourself all the way up. We'll move to the other side. So take the left hand down to the chair. Reach the right arm up to the ceiling and then take that lean. It's like you're diving over a beach ball. Just imagine that you're wrapping that top arm over this great big beach ball. So the arm can be a little bit rounded. And then bring some awareness to the space between the right ribs. Moving only as far as you can go comfortably without any strain. Relax the neck, relax the shoulders. Nice deep full breaths. And on the next inhale, bring yourself all the way up, reach nice and high, and then bring your hands back down to your lap. Crescent moon. Wonderful way to expand the space between your rib cage. Make the lungs be able to move freely, opening as we do that deep belly breathing. So the next movement will be a twist. So take your left hand right on the top of your right thigh and take your right hand behind your right buttock. You can hold on to the seat of the chair. And then let the sternum and the crown of the head lift up. Find a nice long spine. And on your exhale, take a twist to the right. And the chin can stay centered right in the center of the chest, or it can move to look over the right shoulder. And then breathe here. Continuing that nice deep belly breathing, we're actually massaging the organs in the abdominal cavity as we breathe in twists. You might just imagine that wonderful sensation of a nice massage going on in the organs and the abdominal cavity, especially on the right side where we're compressing it just a little bit. And then on your next inhale, come through center and we'll move to the other side in this simple twist. So we're going to take the right hand on the left thigh and the left hand behind the left buttock. Let the sternum lift, crown of the head lift, and then twist to the left. Trying to keep the shoulders parallel to the ground. So you're not leaning into the twist, but staying nice and vertical and letting the rib cage do the twisting for you. Knees stay facing forward. And the breath stays nice and full. So never yanking yourself into the twist by pulling yourself, just using the muscles in your torso to make that twist happen. Over time, your muscles will strengthen. And while you're breathing the twist, they're getting a nice bit of opening, flexibility here. And then bring yourself back to center to end that simple twist. So we'll move now into a little bit of a core work. We're going to bring our feet a little wider than hips. So we're going to bring them about as wide as the legs of the chair. On an inhale, bring your arms up overhead. Draw the belly button in towards your spine. Keep the arms reaching overhead and then fold forward. So the sitting bones are reaching back and the heart is reaching forward and the navel is drawing in. This is a real active workout for the abdominals. So stay here and breathe for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then bring yourself all the way back up. And bring your hands down onto your lap. Toe heel your feet back so that your knees are in line with your hip points, these little bones in the front of your hips. So next we'll move into some movements that will help lubricate the shoulders. So let's begin by circling the shoulders. So bring the shoulders up towards your ears and back towards the back of the chair, down and around and up in front. So we're just making big, slow, backward circles. And you might bring your awareness to your shoulder blades and notice how as the arms come forward, the shoulder blades move apart, and as we bring them over the top and back, the shoulder blades press together. Nice, big, warming the muscles in the back. Big, slow circles. And then pausing at the top, we'll bring those circles forward. So over the top and forward and around and back. Keep breathing. And then pause. So you might notice how warm the upper back begins to feel. We'll move now to some movements that will help lubricate the elbow joint. So we're going to open up the arms, turn the palms up. Reach the fingertips from side to side. And on the exhale, take the hands, make a little cup with the fingers, and then bring that cup to rest on your shoulders. Open up on your inhale, and then close on your exhale. We'll do 3 more. Open on the inhale, and close on the exhale. Open, and close. And open, and close. Keep your elbows out to the sides. Keep your hands cupping. So we're still working on those elbow joints. And we're going to open up one more time. And then bring the hands together. Interlace the fingers and bend at the elbow. We'll open and close. You might feel a stretch through the upper back as you open and close and open. And the next time you close, just pause. We'll move now into some circulating of the wrists. So keeping the forearms together and the fingers interlaced, we're going to make circles, or figure eights really, with our wrists, keeping the forearms together. And after 6 or 7 in one direction, just notice what direction you're traveling, pause, and then make those figure eights in the opposite direction. And then release the interlacing of the fingers and shake out the hands. Just let everything shake. Even let the torso move, let the shoulders rock. Just let all the tension go. Nice. And then bring your hands down onto your lap. Pausing here with the eyes closed and just noticing. Take several nice, full, deep belly breaths as you just observe how the body's feeling, how it might feel a little different than when you started. And so we'll move now into some movements that help kind of floss the cervical spine, help into the neck area. So let your chin tuck ever so slightly back, parallel to the floor. Take a nice breath in, and on your exhale, let the chin just fall towards the chest. And as you do this, try not to let the shoulders creep up to the ears. They sometimes like to do that. So let the shoulders fall away from the ears. And just take 2 breaths here. So let the weight of the head, just traction across the tops of the shoulders, the back of the neck. And then roll the left ear over towards the left shoulder. So the gaze is forward, the head is tilted. You might feel a nice stretch across the top of the right shoulder, across the right side of the neck. Or you might feel it someplace else. It depends upon where your body is tight. You know, people always ask, where should I feel this? Well, you'll feel this where your body needs to feel it, right? Roll the chin back to center and then let the ear roll over to the other side. See if you can soften and relax. You don't want any strain. And just notice how things feel. Roll the chin back to center. And then bring the chin to neutral, so the chin will be parallel to the floor. We're going to draw some circles with the tip of our nose on an imaginary canvas in front of us. So all these movements are designed to bring some movement, some freedom of movement into the neck. So we're going to draw circles, eyes open or closed. So after about 5 big, slow circles in one direction, I happen to have started going in a clockwise direction. You might have started in a different way. We're going to reverse and go in the opposite direction. So we usually start movements with what's comfortable for us. We all have different habits. And then find that nice neutral chin again. The chin is parallel to the ground, tucked ever so slightly back. Take a nice breath in and observe. So let's move into the hip area. We're going to do some movements that will help lubricate the hip. So let's take the right leg up, give it a nice hug into the chest. Sit nice and tall if you can, so you're not rounding towards that thigh. Your shoulders are drawn back and down away from the ears. And just give yourself a squeeze. Take a flex of that right foot, and then take that ankle onto your thigh. Now, if you can't get the ankle onto your thigh, you might take a book or a block and lean it up against your shin and bring the foot down and rest it on that book wherever it might be. So if you have a block, you might be able to do that. But if you can get your leg up here, that's just fine. Sit nice and tall, hands on the shins, and just observe what's going on in your right hip. You might breathe into that space, seeing if you can relax a little bit with each exhale. So every time we breathe, we create space. You might imagine space going right into that hip, almost like a balloon filling up with air. Creating space, and then as you exhale, you know how a balloon gets the skin of the balloon gets really soft and relaxed after you've blown it up. So just imagine that's happening right into the muscles in that hip as they soften on the exhale. If you find that you have more freedom of movement, you may want to lean slightly forward. But if you do lean slightly forward, try not to round the back, but keep the spine long. So you're reaching the sternum forward rather than rounding the shoulders. And it may not feel good to lean forward. So explore your own body and honor whatever limits it has for you. Over time, you'll notice those limits kind of move. Those lines move, and the freedom of movement comes in a little bit more for you. And if you are leaning forward, bring yourself back up to vertical. Take your hands underneath the back of your knee and let the shin hang freely down from that knee. And begin to draw circles now with the knee on this imaginary canvas right in front of you. So allow the circles to be large and slow. And after 5 or 6 in one direction, pause, and then move those circles in the opposite direction. And then give yourself a really nice squeeze. And while you're squeezing, we'll get down into the ankle joint. So begin to rotate the ankle. Nice big circles. It might be clicky or poppy, crunchy, and that's okay. It's just telling you thank you for moving me. We're moving as we move into these joints. We're encouraging synovial fluid into those joints, the oil can, if you will. Point and flex. And then bring that foot down to the ground. We'll do the other side. So you might just for a moment pause and notice if one side feels a little different than the other. So we'll move to the other leg. We're going to move into the hip area. So take that knee up, give yourself a nice little squeeze. And then flex the ankle. And bring that ankle on to the right thigh. And again, if it won't go up there, you can rest it on a book or a block, whatever height you might need it to be. And just allow the thigh to soften down towards the mat. So just see if you can relax into this nice seated pigeon pose. And if it's available for you to take a little lean and it doesn't cause any pain, you never want to move towards pain, you might let yourself lean slightly forward. Always breathing, creating that space and the softening effect with the exhale. It's that letting go effect. And then if you are leaning, just press yourself back up to vertical. And we'll do the circle. So we're going to hold the back of the leg, let the shin hang freely, and draw those circles with the left knee. Starting whatever direction you tend to gravitate to. I happen to be making clockwise circles. What is your circle doing? And then we will reverse whatever direction you're going in, reverse those circles. And then hug that shin in, and we will get into the ankles. Clickety clackety click. 5 or 6, 8 or 10, whatever feels good. I'm not a stickler on counting. You know, you want to give it enough so that the crackliness starts to dissipate a little bit. You don't want any pain, again, never pain. And then point and flex. And then bring that foot down. So I think you'll find if you do some of those hip opening movements on a day-to-day basis, especially if you have tight hips, you might find a little bit more freedom of movement. Over the course of time, things will open up, move more freely for you. So I was recently at Kripalu, which is a yoga training and healing center out in the Berkshires. And I heard the phrase, and it's just stuck with me, that disease comes in through the mouth and age comes in through the legs. And it really made me think, because when you think about it, you really want your legs to stay strong so that you can be active. Because if you can't really move freely and get some exercise and some movement in, you tend not to want to move. And the less you want to move, the more you do move, and the less you do move, the less you can move. So it's just this vicious spiral that kind of like brings us down, you know. As we age, it can be very easy to kind of give up. So I like to work on the legs. And I'm going to do this series of stand-up sit-downs. They're kind of like squats, but you can use the chair for support. So we're going to come off the chair and then sit down, off the chair and sit down. And there's a couple of ways that you can do this. You can let your arms hang freely and build a little bit momentum to help you get up and down. Or you can challenge yourself a little bit more by taking opposite hand to opposite shoulder and doing it using more effort, more of your core to pull you up and pull you down. So rather than building momentum, you're doing it really through the power of your legs. And so the way you want your legs to be is you want your feet to move in slightly so that when you look straight down, you're not seeing your feet out in front of your knees. You want your feet pulled back slightly so that when you stand up, you're supported knees over ankle. And the other thing that you want to be sure of, or to try not to do, is that sometimes when we stand up, our knees tend to collapse inward or they tend to splay outward. So try to keep your knees over your ankles as you stand up and down. That's going to help build all the muscles that will keep you aligned. So pick the arm position that you would like to do, and we're going to do 20 of these. If you get tired halfway through or a quarter of the way through, just sit down, rest, take a few breaths, and meet us wherever you can. Okay? So I'm going to do opposite hand to opposite shoulders, and we're going to do 20. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Good job. Take a seat. Bring your hands on your lap. Take a nice breath in through your nose. Sigh it out through your mouth. So those stand-up, sit-downs are a really good thing to practice every day, and you might try to add a few on, getting up to as high as you can go. It's really good for your legs. So now we're going to stand up entirely and do a few movements standing up. So just find your way up to standing. So we're going to do some movements to help strengthen the muscles on the outer side of the hips. You know, we have our gluteus maximus here, the big muscle in the back, while the minimus and the medius gluteus are right here on the outer hips, and they help us in stabilization in walking and in climbing stairs and getting up and down as we do from chairs. So it really helps us move, and we want to keep them nice and strong. So you can hold onto the chair if you like, bring your weight into your left leg, and we're going to lift the right foot off the floor or the mat if you're on a mat, and just go out to the side 5 times with the toes facing forward. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to come out again and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then we'll bring that foot back down. So we'll do the other side. So you can hold onto the chair or not, your choice. We'll go out to the side, lift that left foot off the ground, and then go out for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we'll come out and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then bring that foot back down. Great job. Facing the chair, we'll do something to work on the big muscles in the back, the gluteus maximus. So we will take our foot and step it back, right foot back, and we will lift the toes off the ground. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we'll hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and then bring that foot down. Step the left foot back. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we'll hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then step that foot down. You might take a little bend in the knees and a little bit of wiggling from side to side. So you can hold the chair or not. Just get a nice stretch into the areas that we just moved and worked to strengthen. And then we're going to move now into a lunge, which is going to help to strengthen the psoas muscle, a muscle that wraps from the lower spine across the hip and down into the inside of the thigh. And this muscle is extremely important in all kinds of activities of walking and climbing and getting up and down from chairs. So we're going to take the right foot forward, and we're going to step the left foot back as far as you can comfortably go, bending into that front leg. So you want to feel a stretch in the front of the left hip. You might even feel a nice stretch in the back of the left calf. So if it's possible for you to let go of the chair, we're supporting our weight equally in both legs, so the weight is in both the back foot and the front foot. And while we're holding in this posture, we're strengthening the front psoas muscle, the one that's holding us up in the right leg, and we're stretching the one on the left leg. So of course we will move to the other side shortly. And as we stand in these standing postures and stress the muscles, we're helping to build bone at the same time. So we're working to build strength in the muscles and strength in the bone just by standing on our own weight, holding our own weight up. So again, you can stay holding the chair, or you can try a little bit of balance element to this. Woo! So then we're going to take a nice stretch into the front leg by straightening it and folding towards the chair. You'll feel a stretch in the back of that front leg as you straighten it. You can let yourself hang out here for a little while if you like. You don't want any pulling on the back of the knee or where the hamstring, this big muscle back here, where it attaches to the knee or the pelvis. So you want to feel a nice stretch in the middle or the belly of the muscle. It's always nice to just hold in a nice, comfortable position and let the muscles slowly relax and stretch. And then coming out, you might bend into that front leg and step the back foot forward. Keep the left foot forward and step the right foot back. So you're coming into that lunge on the other side. And the intensity of this is dependent upon how far your feet are from each other. So you decide what's best for you. Bending into that front leg without letting the knee go past the ankle. So you don't want that kind of a look. You want the knee to be right on top of the ankle, even as far back as over the heel. The weight is in both the back and the front leg. So we're getting a stretch through the right psoas muscle right here, and even into the back of the calf as the back heel touches the ground. And we're bringing some weight into that front leg, which is strengthening the muscles there. trying to keep the torso nice and tall rather than leaning, trying to keep the pelvis level. And then if you'd like to bring a little bit of an element of balance, you can just bring your hands to your heart. And then we'll bring the hands to the back of the chair, straighten the front leg, and get that stretch into the back of the front leg. We can just rest in the back of the chair. Trying to keep the spine long, so trying not to round, but really lengthen the spine. Just breathing into any sensation. Always letting that exhale be the softening agent, if you will. The downy in the yoga. And then bending into that front leg, bringing yourself all the way back up. Bringing the weight into the front foot, step the back foot forward. And we'll do a balance. So balance is something that is very important to practice on a regular basis. I encourage you to practice just standing on one leg whenever you can. So we're going to come into a crane pose, which is basically standing on one leg. Bring the weight into your left leg and tuck that left hip in, lengthen up through the left side. Come onto the toes of the right foot. And you can stay right here, fingers or hand holding the chair or not. Your choice. And if you'd like to keep your toes touching, that's fine, and your fingers touching the chair, super. Or you can lift that foot off the ground and maybe play with letting go. It's always useful to find a drishti, a point in front of you that doesn't move, and allow your attention to rest there. Really focus. It helps in the stability of a balanced pose. And the breath is also a tool that helps bring a little suppleness into the posture so that when you do wobble, which you will do, you'll correct yourself. If we stop breathing, we get stiff. When we get stiff, we tumble. And then bring that foot down and move to the other side. So you might want to set yourself up holding the chair to start. So tucking that right hip in and lengthening up through that right side. Come onto the toes of the left foot. And feel stable there. Maybe let go here with just the toes touching. And that's a beautiful thing to practice. Or you can lift that foot off the ground if you feel stable. Keep the finger or the hand on the chair, that's fine. Or you might decide to let go. Keep breathing and focusing. Your body, you'll notice, will adjust itself. And as you feel a little wiggly and wobbly, you're working those muscles that are going to help you stay upright. And then bring that foot down. So balancing, just standing on one leg in that crane pose for 30 seconds on each side, once or twice a day. You can do it while you're brushing your teeth, or you can do it while your water is heating for coffee, or you can do it simply because you have 30 seconds to spare. So every time you practice, you're going to get stronger and stronger, not only physically with the muscles that will keep you upright, but your brain's going to work a little better to keep you from tipping over. So we're going to find our way back to our seat and move into this final relaxation of Shavasana. Shavasana is the ending of the practice where we allow all of the good things that we've done for our body through movement and breath to digest, to integrate into the system. So I invite you to sit comfortably in your chair, even relaxed, with your legs extended, your hands resting on your lap. Find a nice, comfortable position to be in. Or if it's available to you to get down onto your mat and lay down, maybe cover up with a blanket. It's another option, right? So this is where we just really let it all sink in. So close your eyes and allow the awareness to rest on breath. A nice, soft, smooth, rhythmic breath without any particular controlling, just observing. You might allow the muscles in the arms to soften and relax, and the fingers to relax. The belly and the buttocks relax. And all the muscles in the legs also relax. The heaviness comes over the body as it sinks into the mat or into the chair. So there's a quieting of the physical movement. You might bring your awareness inward and upward, right to the space between your eyebrows, the third eye, we call it in yoga. Just kind of rest your awareness there. Allowing the body to relax and the mind to be restful but alert at the same time. So thoughts might drift in and out. But try not to let them carry you away into the stories, into the narrative. Just let the thoughts come and go. When we rest in Shavasana into this place of stillness, it's very healing for the body and for the mind. You can stay here for just as long as you like in this restful pose. And when you're ready to move out into your day, you might allow the breath to deepen a little bit. You might bring some movement into the fingers and the toes, a wiggling or a circling of the wrists and the ankles. And then it might feel nice to take a nice full body stretch. Opening the eyes, bringing your hands to your heart. Ending your practice with Namaste. Thanks so much for practicing with me today. If you know someone who might benefit from this practice, I hope you'll share it with them by hitting the share button below. You can also hit the subscribe button to be notified when new videos are posted to this channel. A link to this video and other information about the benefits of practicing yoga can be found on my Facebook page. The link is shown below. I encourage you to share your feedback as well. Tell me what areas of the body I could focus on that would be helpful to you. I hope you'll join me next time. Until then, Namaste.